laugh, every smile, every hug, every kiss, every touch, every person in my life that I care about and love. But wait, maybe I'm getting too emotional. That's exactly what they say you ain't supposed to do. Suppress your feelings, never talk about your pain. Can't appreciate the sun without acknowledging it rains, right? That's right. So this a moment of clarity. And make sure you always protect your energy. You stay focused and your life gon' be lit. And you are now rocking with Celeste, the therapist. Let's go.
Hi, beautiful people. So if you are watching me on the replay, thank you so much for watching me. I appreciate you. If you've never been into any of my broadcasts before and you're stumbling on this broadcast, my name is Celeste. I'm a therapist from Boston. And I've come on, I talk to people that are empowering other people. This episode that I do, it ends up being a podcast. This is the podcast right here, Celeste the Therapist Podcast. You can find it streaming on all podcasting platforms. And I stream on 3 different platforms. We're on Facebook, Periscope, and on YouTube. And ever since the pandemic started, I decided to come on video. So I just pretty much brought my podcast to a video platform. And one of the things that I always do on my podcast is I talk about relationships. Relationships are something that is complicated, and there's a lot of struggle that people kind of go through. And I'm a firm believer, hey, Doc Brown, I'm a firm believer that we don't have to struggle as much as we do in relationships. I feel like we make it a little bit more complicated than it has to be. Hey, Jameson, and that's only because I think a lot of it is our exposure or our expectations in relationships. So before I bring on my special guest, so he's going to help me kind of talk about relationships. The segments that we do, people will be able to ask questions ahead of time. I have a couple of questions that we're gonna like work through. But before I start, I just kind of wanted to put up this crisis text line. So 741-741. You can connect directly to a crisis counselor. I believe that we shouldn't suffer alone, and I think a lot of times we struggle alone, and we don't have any outlets. So I really highly encourage people to kind of look at their local government to see if they're offering anything and utilizing this crisis line. So I'm going to bring on my special guest, and I'm going to have him introduce himself to you guys. Hello. Can you introduce yourself to my audience, please?
What's up? My name is JeffGrey. Good to meet you, audience.
So Jeff has actually been on the show a couple of times, which is why I'm grateful that he decides to come on again. I'm going to have him be the person that helps me out with relationships. I think we always have like a balanced conversation. Do you think that's fair to say?
I think it's fair to say. I love talking to you, Celeste. I think the people are lucky to have you.
You're so kind. So one of the things, and if you have any questions too, you can put those in the comments. But I have a couple of questions that I want us to kind of talk about. And because I'm a therapist and I work with people, I know like these are things that a lot of people kind of go through. And so there are 2 different extremes. So the first one is, I'm going to read the question. Okay. So yep. Jeff has not heard the questions. He said he doesn't want to know the questions until the show. That's how courageous he is. No,
that's how much I trust you.
That's how much he does me. So I'm 30-something years old, just got out of a long-term relationship. I'm concerned about dating apps. I feel like I'm ready to meet someone new, but I'm old school and want to meet that someone in person. Can you help me out? So now I have been married for like before dating apps came out, and like I know about dating apps because I hear people talk about them all the time, so they feel normal for me, right? The apps feel like a normal thing to do. I can see like if I wasn't in this relationship and I had to start over, how it would feel kind of awkward when I guess I'm old school. It's weird to say I'm old school when I'm 37. That's so weird to say. Oh my God.
Not weird to your kids.
What's your thought on, I guess, dating apps and meeting new people? What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I don't think that you absolutely have to use dating apps, But the truth is, you want to go fishing, you got to fish where the fish are, right? The reason why people use dating apps is because they offer a way to it's a lot less luck involved, right? People are announcing, I'm available. So, hell, they're announcing they're available even when they're not. But they're announcing that they're available. You can look at their interests. You can look at them. Now people are putting their best foot forward. But I mean, I guess the alternative is what? Hoping they hire a cute guy at your office? Right? I don't know if you've seen that meme. It goes, shout out to all the women single who don't go out, don't go nowhere, just sitting at home waiting for Mr. Right to break in. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you gotta make moves. And the dating apps, even though it's a little bit like a cattle car, right, where it's just like swipe left, swipe right, it's a little impersonal. But so is getting all dolled up, putting on your girdle, going to a bar, and hoping that like a cute guy taps you on the shoulder, and you can barely talk to him, and hopefully his breath don't stink. Like that seems just as hard. So really, the whole thing is challenging.
No,
so
I guess no. Okay, so that's fair. Do you see any cons with the dating apps? I'm trying to think. So before, I guess that was our only option, is going to a bar, to a library, to going somewhere. We didn't have the dating app option. So now there's this other option layered with the other options that are still out there. Do you see any cons with the dating app?
I do. I think that one thing that dating apps are notorious for, from the woman's point of view, because it's different whether you're a male or this was a woman questioner, right?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Why does it matter what sex it is? Who's the one doing the dating?
We'll get into it. Well, I'll go to it. But first, let me say, from a woman's point of view, a big challenge is that it's like when you read somebody's resume, how well do you really know them? Everyone tailors their resume and doctors it, and sometimes people just flat out lie and say I went to Oxford, but really they went to Cambridge College. You know what I mean? Like they do these things, and so you can have a great profile, and you can fake that a lot better than you can fake in person, right? So in person, like if you can be you can have a charming profile, but not have charm. But in person, I got to walk up to you and have that charm right. Oh, Celeste, that's a good name. I always love Mama Celeste pizza. And you got to like try to make it happen immediately. So that's a con. From the dudes, it's actually the exact opposite, which is that dating apps really disadvantage you if you don't have a great resume, but you are let's say you do have charm. So let's say, for example, a famous thing is that women on dating apps, whether they say it explicitly or not, one of the first questions is, how tall are you? Right? That's famously women, how tall are you? And they know in their mind, I only date guys that are 5'10" and above, 6 feet and above, whatever it is. But some of these shorter guys, let's say like a 5'8" man like myself, which is technically and legally average, but which might get screened out in a dating app. Guys in that position, maybe you got a lot of charm, maybe you got something else, but you're just getting screened out. It's the same feeling that you have if you apply to like a company and they have a machine look at your resume and they say, oh, no masters, throw it in the trash. So you're really disadvantaged as a guy, because understand, it's the women are the choosers. This is true everywhere, but it's particularly true in the dating apps. The women, a woman puts up a dating profile and she gets a million bites, right? And she's the one who selects, well, really, who am I going to interact with? So if she just looks at the thing and says, oh, this guy says he drives Uber, not that he's a doctor, then I screen you out. But you don't know. A guy who's an Uber driver, but a great conversationalist and hilarious and all these things, he gets screened out before he even gets a look. So that's the disadvantages for kind of both sides. Women can be more easily defrauded, and men can be more easily discarded.
Yeah, that's true. And so I guess if somebody is going to entertain a dating app, they would have to keep their options open, maybe.
So like in this woman's case, I think, because it's also it's a false dichotomy to say I don't want to do apps. I want to do it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, the app is also very low effort. You might as well do both. So you could start a Tinder, right, or I don't know, Christian Mingle or a Farmer's Meet, whatever it is.
Is Tinder specifically for sex, or do people? Can you meet somebody to date on Tinder as well?
People meet people to date on Tinder, but it has a hookup connotation that Christian Mingle does not have.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But sometimes people you know how there are couples that met as a one-night stand.
Yep.
Right. But like they don't always want to tell that story. Tinder kind of has a little of that to it. Like we met on Tinder, right?
So you already know that it's like a hookups, like
right.
Okay.
But it's not like, Grindr, the gay version, which I think is like truly, I've heard that it's like, 99% hookup. You know what I mean?
Oh,
maybe,
okay.
Maybe again, my Grindr account, I haven't logged in a long time, but maybe. So the point is, you could do both, right? You could have a Tinder, check it when you want to check it. If anyone somehow, like you expect mostly to decline, every once in a while you swipe, I believe it's swipe right when you like somebody.
Uh-huh.
You swipe right every once in a while and just see what happens. And then you could still, because otherwise, again, if you want to go out to a restaurant, go out to a restaurant. You want to go to lunch with some guy that you met at a symposium, go to lunch with that guy. But meeting people is too hard to be picky about how you do it, to me.
No, that's true. And I think that because we don't have the same kind of time we've had in the past, it's a little bit more challenging to actually put yourself out there. I don't think there's a lot of opportunity.
And right now, people aren't gathering. So I bet you those dating apps have become a little less hookup-y because it's not an option. So right now, it might be better because if someone's like, hey, you want to come over tonight? Like right now, it's not even safe to be in the same room. So clearly you're not wearing like the social condom that we're supposed to wear right now, which is not meeting someone you just met. You won't even do that. So clearly I'm not letting you put anything inside me. Clearly. Yeah. That's what Jeff the woman says.
Wait, yeah, no, you're right. So I guess like if you are trying to really date, this is a good time to do it online because not everybody has time, and the social condom is the mask. So
I mean, what good is a mask though if our genitals are touching? That mask don't do much. So anyone who's propositioning you right now, they don't practice safe living. They don't practice it.
So because, hold on, can I just say something really quick? Are you saying because people are trying to get their sexual needs met, that means that they're not practicing safe living?
Yes,
can they screen somebody out and like, let's say it, have you been in your house by yourself for the last 14 days? Could they screen somebody out?
If I swipe right on an app,
that's not fair, Jeff. That's not fair to say.
If I swipe right on an app tonight and Celeste tells me, hey, you want to come over? I promise I haven't seen anyone in 14 days. Ma'am, I don't know. I'm skeptical that you're both very discerning and yet you're inviting me over so quickly. On a regular day, maybe, because I'm just such a dime. But at this point, you can't see COVID. And the same thing is true about the various HPVs. So to me, it correlates very nicely.
Okay. So what would be the option then if this is the case?
I guess you're going to have to chat it up, talk about, eventually get to the point, ooh, girl, you know what I'm going to do when I see you. It's kind of a dangerous game because it's tough to keep that level of like, this is going to be good. This is going to be good. But it's all people got. I mean, we're reopening right now, but nothing has changed. You know what I mean? Nothing, and, Drew's commenting, thank you, Drew. But Drew knows that what I'm saying is true, which is, again, you can't tell me whenever someone said the phrases what dudes say is, whenever a woman tells you don't have to use a condom, that's when you need a condom the most.
That's true. I agree with
that. This
is
the same 100%. Thing as that. Whenever someone tells you, no, I've been totally socially distant for weeks. Come over, stranger. You ain't that distant.
Okay. So right now, so I guess even though we're talking about this question that somebody asked about using a dating apps now, because we're in the middle of a pandemic, we can't skip that over in this COVID season. It sounds like, in your opinion, dating doesn't always have to mean sex is involved, right?
Right now, I think all it could be, if you're really distancing like you should, it would just be, long distance courtship, right? Even if the person just lives around the corner. Because
we can go for a walk, Jeff. Come on.
Okay. You got that. We go for a walk and stay 6 feet apart, where it straight up looks like I'm not with you. But it is something. It's a weird time to meet somebody. Look, I'm going on a date. I'm hoping to escalate eventually. I don't mean sex on the first date, but realistically, right? You hope like, all right, even if it's the 1800s, like, ooh, I hope I get to hold her hand by the end. So going on a date where it's like, hello, I got to bring a megaphone. It's a little bit.
No, you're being drastic. You're being drastic. I don't think.
Imagine being like, well, things were going good with this girl, and then I gave her COVID. That ain't the move. So that's how I look at it.
Okay. All right. So if you're listening to this, y'all know how I am. I'm not telling you what way to go or not go, but obviously definitely practice safe dating with everything going on. I think that you can I think it'd be a lot more, the conversations would actually be a lot more engaging and like full of substance, because there's no party to go to. There's no other things going on. And I think if you are going to date, it's not a bad time, because you can actually really get to know somebody during this time.
I agree. I think that's a very glass half full way to look at it. I think it's true. But I think it's true. I think it's true that right now, the only people who are trying to straight up hook up, and if you're worried about, oh, they just want my body, well, that'll be obvious, because the people pressing for that are the most super reckless people of all. So everyone else should be saying like, I'm hoping when things, when they get a vaccine, you and me can go get some ice cream. And in the meantime, let's talk to each other through one of those cans with a string in it.
Can you stop? You're being so dramatic.
Listen, people, Celeste doesn't worry about she's not worried enough about your respiratory system, but Jeff is. I want you to be able to.
Okay, so what if we, this is my last thing, because I want to get to my next question. What if we both get tested for COVID and we're both negative and we both live alone? Bam. What you got to say about that?
You know what? I say? It's a match made in heaven. Put that swab up your nose and then head on over, baby. I'm gonna be here right now. I like it. I like it.
All right. Okay.
That's a woman that's that resourceful. That's she wants the D if she goes and gets tested, just so she can come. I know, because
I heard it's not comfortable to have that swab up your nose. So
it is not. But listen, you put that up your nose. Next thing you know, you don't know what'll be up what. I'm with you, Celeste.
All right, let's get to the next question. Okay, so if you just came in, me and Jeff were talking about relationships. Anytime me and Jeff comes on, we will be talking about relationships. So I'll have a way for you guys to send in your questions. But I have one more question I want Jeff to help me with. All right.
Drew commenting saying, what about you've been to the post office? See, Drew's clean, because she's saying that she's not going to do this. But that also makes me say, like, damn, this is going to be tough trying to court Drew until 2022 when I can finally get her in the room.
Okay, so my girl Janice, if two people FaceTime every night for 2 weeks straight with no symptoms, it's a go. Thank you. You can't
Janice, look me up on Tinder, because I like the way you think. Janice. Thank you. I like a girl. Thank you,
Janice. I'm trying to help people out, because I'm good over here, but I can't even imagine what's popping over there when you can't even date. And obviously, I want you to date safely. And I think me and Janice are coming up with some really plausible ways to get it to have a good time.
Y'all really are. This gives me hope for the dudes out there trying to make something happen. Look at this. Her name was Janice Hyatt. And I think she got a promising future.
All right. So my next question. All right, you're gonna help me out. I'm a mom, a wife, and my husband and I have 3 kids. By the time I've worked, cooked, ate, I'm just not in the mood for sex. I feel guilty because I want to do it, but I'm just too tired. Help me out.
I got to go first on this one, Celeste?
I'll go first. You don't want to get attacked? Yeah. All right. So I think this is a common thing, especially with women. I think we do a lot. And I think we end up being the last person on the to-do list. I don't even think we make it to the to-do list. I don't think we make it to the to-do list, and we don't understand how much our body is drained, and we're just doing. And I think she said too tired. I think that sex is I think that sex is something that is important, especially for a relationship. And in order to be able to have that the energy, I think part of your day has to do with being able to take care of yourself. And if you're not like practicing self-care, then why would you feel like doing anything? And I know some people end up having sex and not enjoying it because they're just tired and they just kind of want it to go and keep it moving. But I think that it should be something enjoyable. And if you're not taking care of yourself, it's going to be hard to get to that place. That's kind of like my idea on like people, because I hear this a lot around like, I'm just too tired.
I think I'm going to present a more, I agree with everything Celeste said, and I'm going to give it a yes and, right? So first off, when people talk about like economics and stuff, like, you know, all these get rich quick books, like, or not get rich quick, but like Rich Dad, Poor Dad and stuff like that. They'll talk about pay yourself first, right? Yes. Instead of paying all the bills and then keeping the leftover, pay yourself first, right? And in that same way, I think you have to treat your life and self-care like that and your relationship like that, right? Because if I ask you what's more important, that the kitchen's clean or that you have a good relationship with your mate, hopefully you'll say, well, I'd rather have a good relationship and the kitchen's a little dirtier than say, I'd rather have a clean kitchen and we're about to break up. So I think you have to prioritize yourself and self-care so that whatever it is, so that you know, like, look, I got to keep a little in the tank to like exchange with my partner. I almost said give to my partner, but I don't mean give like you owe something. That's not what I mean. Right. What I mean is to have the kind of exchange that you hope to have, right? That's full of a full, balanced, good life. At the same time, another thing to remember too is that being in a relationship does mean that your partner's needs should be on that list too. So first we talked about you and paying yourself first, but second of all, your partner's needs are important. Assuming you're in a monogamous relationship, right, which you don't have to be, but many people are, or one where you've agreed to be monogamous, then you've made a deal. Like, let's meet each other's needs and not look to others for needs. So that is a deal. So then you go, oh, and by the way, I won't be meeting your needs. That is not great. Now, you said, the writer said, I feel guilty. So she agrees with this. She feels this way. So the solution is to take a little of the pressure off of the other parts of your life, but put a little pressure on yourself to say, like, look, am I meeting my own relationship needs, which I would assume involve intimacy? Am I meeting my partner's needs, which we know from the letter involve intimacy? And to focus a little on that, even though I admit you can't, like, girl, you're not a superwoman. You can't do it all. You can't. So what gets thrown overboard, it should maybe be vacuuming sometimes and should very rarely be, well, we haven't been together in 3 weeks, but I made sure I mopped the floor.
Right. And this is not a part of the question, but I do want to take it a step further because you said we haven't been together in 3 weeks. And I've met people who have not, like, somehow it just kind of got off the whole, like, list, and they're not having, I would say, smashing. They're not having smashing. They're not having sex, like, literally at all. What do you think it does to the relationship? And then it's like nobody's talking about it. We're just not having sex. And what do you think that does to the relationship when that ends up happening, where it just kind of like, this is just what we do. We just, you know, I'd be like, well, don't you want to have sex? Yeah, but like we just kind of stop. Like, I don't know how that happens, but what do you think it does to the relationship?
Well, both parties, well, you know, virtually every human being really likes and enjoys being desired. So outside of just like, oh, I need a physical release, but you can masturbate, right? So it's not just that. Yes, that's right, Drew. Sex intimacy is a form of respect for your partner's needs. Exactly. So people want to be desired, right? You know, Celeste, you getting ready, and y'all are going somewhere, and you do everything, and you bought this dress, and my God, this dress is really showing everything up, and you go out, and if he don't even look up from the game, it's a little bit like, damn, I guess I'm played out, huh? Versus if you come out there and he goes, we ain't even gonna make it out the door. I just can't. You know who did it? It's funny, but who did it good when I used to watch Martin, or we've all watched Martin. He'd be like, my baby is dead, and he would do that thing, and it's a little performative. But honestly, who doesn't like that? Particularly, again, you're in a monogamous relationship. You've made a deal, like, yo, we're gonna meet each other's needs. So the fact that making the other person know that they're desired or whatever, it really means a lot, and it's true both ways. I do not just mean this is what men owe women. Because men also very much want to feel desired. They want to feel like the girl's like, oh, the way you do it, daddy, no one else can do it, right? And I just can't get enough.
The guys want that too?
Guys want that a lot. And let me tell you something also. Women, at least, if you put on that dress and your man ignores you, right, you can go out and you know, shake it just right. And like a stranger might be like, look at you. But let me tell you something. A dude go out, and it's very unlikely that a girl's going to be like, oh my God, look, he looks like he got a big package. Like, that's not how women treat men in the street. So men are actually very susceptible in a good way to like compliments and attention, because we get relatively a lot less of it. Right? Where a girl goes, he's so, like, you got to be like the actual Rock before women's like, that's a beefcake. But, you know, women, you get, you know, so unless you've like had your hair wrapped and your makeup not done, and you walk to the corner store and the dude's still hollering. You've had that experience. Right? Right. Because that's what dudes are out here doing. But women are not doing that for us. So when you tell your man, like they're not. If I go out with crust in my eye, listen, the fish do not bite. The fish do not. I got to moisturize this beard for 45 minutes every day. And so I go out. But so the point is, your girl comes to you like, can I just have it, daddy? Just a little taste. Right? Oh, well, Rudy disagrees. Women are serving say some outrageous things, but I'm gonna wager that Rudy looks better in the Speedo than I do. So Rudy's making that happen. And congratulations to you.
Well, I went to high school with him. I used to call him steroids because he was always so buff.
Oh, okay. I said you got to be the Rock, and Rudy is the Rock. His nickname apparently is Money. So. Yeah, if you're Diesel and your name's Money, all right, you're different. But I'm talking about me. All right, my nickname is the Professor, and the Professor makes a living, but they're not just throwing the money at him. He has to work for it. So the point is that not giving just even the disinterest, not even like a hard no, but just your girl goes to bed in some holy stretch pants and a t-shirt that it's a men's XXX, but she didn't get it from you. That doesn't make you, and then you try to make it happen. She just rolls over and the cover's tighter. That does not make you feel good. Versus like, now I don't. Again, it's a balancing act, because you have rights to be tired or just not in the mood. And I would say that he has an obligation to try to kind of get you in the mood, rather than just like caveman sex now. I don't just mean that, but it's not safe to say that, like, well, if I'm not in the mood for 6 weeks, then I'm just not. That's not the deal. That's not what we're doing here. So it's kind of like, you're not in the mood. Put a little effort into getting in the mood.
And I think people get used to not being in the mood, right? I think people are like, you can just not go, and then just keep. I mean, I don't like, this is what happens. I don't know how that can happen for so long, but I guess people can get comfortable with not having sex. And what Drew said earlier about, especially if it's a healthy monogamous relationship, I feel like that should be on the table for discussion. And I don't think people communicate enough. I don't, when it comes to like sexual needs, not even just having sex, but even like how we're having sex, or if it feels good, or like what I'm feeling. I think a lot of people, unfortunately, and even in healthy relationships, aren't having this dialogue. And people are like left unsatisfied.
Right. I mean, that she didn't mention that problem, meaning she didn't.
No,
say
she didn't. No,
not satisfying to me. But that my neighbor has had no sex for 5 years. I would have died. Yeah, and it might have been, and depending on who it is, it might have been a murder-suicide, because that's 5 years is a long time.
That's a long
5
time.
years is a long time to act, because people sometimes act like it's just sex, blah, blah, blah. But it's really not true. It's a huge component of a relationship. Huge component. Not for men, for humans. You know what I mean? So I don't think that anyone owes someone sex on any given night, like on what you owe me tonight. That's not what I'm saying. But in a more general sense, in the same way that if you just never ate dinner together again, just from now, I just every time the mate comes home, I already ate, but just forever.
Yeah.
You'd be like, whoa, something's really wrong here, right?
Right.
So it's all hand in hand.
Right. No, that's good. That I like that. And I think for anybody listening to this, whether or not the question applies to you or not, but just with this whole idea of like intimacy and sex, if anything like triggers you, like be okay with having the conversation, because I bet your partner's probably thinking about it too, and y'all just ain't talking about it. And I'm under the impression, I feel like life's too short not to have a fulfilled life, like fulfilled happiness. If your sex could be fine, but maybe you're not experiencing intimacy, or vice versa. Maybe you have good intimacy, but you don't enjoy the sex. Be okay with talking about it. Would you agree with that?
I do agree that you want to talk about it. You also want to pay attention to, nonverbal cues, because the truth is that there is something a little, if we're truly honest, a lot of times, like, when you have your therapist hat on, it's like, oh, talk about everything. But a little bit that, like, for example, if a woman wants to be ravished, I would love my husband to just show up one day and say, I can't resist, baby. Put down that laptop. I need you right now. But then if he goes, well, I would like to ravish you very soon, because I believe that we have time between 5:30 and 6, that ruins what you're doing. So to some degree, you have to pay attention to, like, if you're continually, like, not setting the stage to make stuff happen and you're not communicating, it's a form of rejection, right? And that's one of the main reasons I think people end up kind of having these non-verbal abstinence wars with each other. Is that if you ask the mate, who they'll say, well, I keep trying and they always say no. So I keep trying and they always say no. So I just stop trying. You've heard that before, right?
I have, yeah.
Right. Because it's after, how many times do I have to ask my wife or husband, like, hey, you want to go in the bedroom? And they're like, maybe later. Before it's like, damn, how many times do I got to let you kick me in the teeth? And then you finally just be like, you know what? I don't care. It doesn't hurt. I'd rather be with myself, or I'd rather step out, or I'd rather just soak. Or this makes me feel so bad about my body that that makes me not even want to do it, because it's like, I guess I'm repulsive. Mm-hmm. So I think, you got to both save the energy in your own tank, save enough energy for them, even if you're not pressed to do it today. Set the stage so that stuff, give yourself the opportunity for good things to happen, and communicate, but non-verbally communicate. I want you. I love you. I'm as attracted to you as I was during that honeymoon period when we couldn't get enough.
I like that. That's good. Straight to the point. Yeah. Do you have any lasting comments on this whole relationship thing? So if you just joined us, we answered 2 separate questions. One was on dating apps, and it was hilarious. And the other one was about sex and being too tired to have sex, because of, not that it's bad, but it sounds like the person's feeling guilty because they are not having sex.
Right. And Celeste said, make it happen. That was her advice. So my last thing that I'll say is that we're going to do this, is it monthly?
Yes, we're doing it monthly. So yeah, go ahead. Yeah, we're doing it monthly.
So we're going to do it monthly. So to do that, Celeste needs your questions. So if you send them to Celeste, we'll have the questions and we'll answer them. And the weirder, the better. Particularly if you're doing something where you married a guy and then you found out halfway through he swapped with his twin, that would be great. I want to hear questions like that. Or I caught my wife with our dog. Huh?
Go ahead.
I caught my wife with, please, if you caught your wife with your dog, please write in. So anything like that, we would love to hear.
Oh, Rudy got questions. And actually, Jeff is going to be on later this month. I don't remember the date, but he's coming on again this month. I really enjoy this stuff with Jeff. When the pandemic is over and life opens up, we want to do this live whenever it happens, where we can do it safely. And maybe for people that don't want to do dating apps, they could come to the event and meet people.
Oh, I do got something to plug. I do got something to.
Oh, okay. Tell me.
Boston, my girl Sheena Collier in Boston Wild Black.
Oh, yeah.
I'm hosting her. There's an event on June 5th called Pitch Your Friends. And so
I'm going to that. Oh, you're hosting that? Oh my God, that's gonna be so dope. Let me look.
Right. So you go, you pitch. So you say, look, my girl Celeste, she got her own successful show, and she's a therapist, and she's dope. She says she's married, but don't let that stop you. That, like, you know what I mean? You. Wait, is it in the room? No. If he is, then I didn't say.
No, actually, I had Sheena on, and I was joking, and I said, "Can I come on?" She's like, "If that's what works for y'all, you can come on." So, tell people about how that works, since we are talking about relationships. I'm mad that you didn't bring this up earlier, but go ahead.
You're right. That's more of a Sheena question than a Jeff question, because she just asked me, and I said yes without knowing anything about it. But ideally, I'll say Rudy will come. Rudy Christmas will come on, because he sounds easy to pick. You say, well, they call him Money, and he's super jacked.
And I used to call him steroids, not money. I used to call him steroids, so you know he's super jacked.
He's super jacked, and he won't wear a shirt on the date.
So Jeff is going. Let me just pull up this flyer. It's not ready because I didn't realize Jeff was going to be part of it until just this moment. So Jeff is going to be hosting this. Sheena was on the show and she talked about it. And it's going to be you can pitch your friends. And I know with the pandemic, a lot of people, if you were single before, you're still single. Here's the flyer right here. So if you go to Boston, if you go to Eventbrite, you can sign up to pitch your friend. There's events happening literally all week on this.
Exactly. So, this one's June 5th. So what's that, Friday, I believe?
Yeah, this Friday.
Again, I didn't have no details. Sheena just asked me. I said yes. The truth is, this could be. I could have signed up to. I don't know what I signed up to do, but we're gonna host it. It's gonna be dope. Pitch your friends.
It's gonna be dope. It's gonna be a dope event. I'm not trying to be a part of it. I'm not trying to date or anything, but I just want to see how it works because it seems pretty dope. So.
Well, here's the thing. It wouldn't be you. You could go on there and pitch one of your single friends, right?
Yes.
That's what you. So it ain't just saying please date me. You're saying please date Rudy.
And they can ask questions. The audience will be able to ask questions too. So I think, and it'll be people from different places. So you may find somebody in New York or Connecticut.
There you go.
Or Jersey.
There you go. New York, the COVID hotspot. This is just getting. Celeste don't care about your lungs at all. Celeste don't care what happens to y'all, but I do. Date somebody from Taiwan. Date somebody from a place that don't have this issue.
There's more issues going on than COVID now. Like, there's other stuff to be concerned about.
All this other stuff happened, and people forgot about COVID. Like, COVID did not take one day off. This is, I don't know, man. This is 2020's crazy, man. We only talked about murder hornets for 3 days. The murder hornets didn't take no time off either. You don't know about murder hornets. You're making the face. Yeah, there's these enormous hornets that are from Japan that have now made it to America. Big hornets. They're like this big. They're like a handful of grapes. Like, let's say 6 grapes. It's one damn hornet. That's real.
And they're murdering people?
No, they just call them. They're so damn big, and this thing would hurt. They actually murdered bees. But I'll tell you what, I don't like getting stung by something small, much less a hornet big enough to like have some weight. Yeah, 2020. Drew says 2020 is ghetto. Drew, the difference is I like the ghetto. I've always lived in the ghetto. I've never wanted to live in murder hornet pandemic riot land. This is getting rough.
It's getting rough. Yeah. Thank you. This was a nice like break from the other stuff I've been dealing with and talking about. I love talking about relationships, and we're gonna do it again later this month. We're gonna do it again later this month, and I don't know what kind of questions we'll have, but hopefully they're not too crazy. But Jeff,
no, I do hope that they are crazy. The crazier, the better. And I'm not gonna read them. Celeste, if you the craziest ones,
I know,
I'm not gonna see them. You just
I've got you.
All right, crazy.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate you, homie.
Thank you as well. Thank y'all.
Bye. I love Jeff. Every time he comes on, it's always a good time. This is his third time on the podcast. So before the pandemic happened, I had already asked him if he could come on monthly and just help me do the relationship one. And he said, yeah. So we're here, and, we'll be doing relationships, and I can't imagine having it with anybody other than him because he's amazing. So if you want to follow the podcast, don't forget you can follow it on all podcasting platforms. Don't forget, I'm having a Zoom party, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, June 5th. We will be celebrating. I've had at this point, over 100,000 downloads on the podcast, and there's going to be giveaways, there's going to be music, and there's going to be games. I actually hired an event planner for this because I have no idea how to host any kind of online anything. There's going to be a DJ. It's so weird that I'm saying this. It's going to all be online, but it's going to be fun. It'll be something different than, to break up our time. It'll be something different, but it'll be fun. It's a free event. All you got to do is go to Eventbrite to sign up for this event, and I'm going to be excited to have you there, so we can rock out. Anybody who knows me knows how much I love partying, and so because we can't actually party in person, we're gonna party online. So we'll be back tomorrow. We're gonna talk to somebody else, and if you ever want to be on the show or have a show idea, email me info@celestetherapist.com, or you can also DM me on social media, reach me anyway, and I'm out.
Every laugh, every smile, every hug, every kiss, every touch, every person in my life that I care about and love. But wait, maybe I'm getting too emotional. That's exactly what they say you ain't supposed to do. Suppress your feelings, never talk about your pain. Can't appreciate the sun without acknowledging it rains, right? That's right. So this a moment of clarity, and make sure you always protect your energy. You stay focused and your life gon' be lit. And you are now rocking with Celeste the Therapist. Let's go.